In the train car, Lauren knocks on Nikki's door and asks to take an evening stroll. Nikki's not in the mood, but invites her in. She tells her about her nightmare last night, about not being able to get to Victoria and Nick. It seems to be coming true. She rants about the lies, games, and Nick being accused of murder. Lauren cannot believe an innocent man has died. Nikki sneers that Kane doesn't care about that. She can't shake the feeling that something is terribly wrong. Lauren's sure Kane wouldn't harm Nick or Sharon. Nikki's not sure what Kane is capable of. Nikki tells Lauren the dread in her bones says Nick is in danger. She thinks it's about Chancellor. Lauren marvels. "You think this whole stunt is a power play?" Nikki says, "Absolutely." Lauren asks if she really thinks Kane would stoop this low. There's no doubt in her mind. Lauren worries she's ready to give in to Kane and give him what he wants. In the main train car, Kane wants to speak to Carter alone, but Chance and Victor disagree. The Newman won't let him concoct a story with that robotic freak. Kane insists they'll be telling the truth. Kane wants the truth. Victor says his son has been framed. By guess who? Your robotic friend. Chance insists they need to be present for their conversation. Victor says the freaky friend knew the knife was put under the sink. How would he know that? They argue over Kane detaining Sharon and Nick. Kane insists it was his decision. He thought it possible Nick was a danger. Victor muses that now it's only possible. So why is he still holding him? Carter wants these questions to end. He's done nothing wrong, and they can't hold him there. Chance says he's been put in charge, and he has a right to be present for any questioning. Kane barks at Carter to go wait in the bar area. Carter leaves, and Chance warns he'll be talking to him again later. Kane doesn't appreciate them grilling Carter behind his back. Victor says he's guilty. Kane wonders if they bullied something out of him. He reminds Chance that he's paying him, so he expects to be kept in the loop and updated. Victor frowns. What? Chance tells Kane he hasn't taken a dime. His goal is to find out who killed Damien. Money has nothing to do with it. Kane wants to know what went down with Carter. Chance says they caught him in a lie, several in fact. He accidentally knew where the murder weapon was planted. Kane says, "Found." He told them he'd lay down his life for him. He thinks he needs to protect him at all costs. Either he's covering for Kane, or he's the one who plunged the knife into Damien's back. Kane rants that he's not some psycho mastermind ordering his employees to kill off his perceived enemies. Victor notes Damien was making inroads with this ex-wife. Kane gave them his blessing. He further argues Carter isn't capable of murder. Victor says, "This freak is beholden to you, isn't he?" He'd do anything for him. Chance says maybe he identified a problem and thought he'd rectify it. That's what they need to find out. In the chateau, Sharon and Billy fret over Nick. Billy thinks he knows someone who can help. If it doesn't work, he'll go down the mountain. She needs to stay with Nick. He shows Sharon how to put pressure on Nick's wound and takes off. Sharon tells the grimacing Nick that help is on the way. Sharon pleads with Nick to open his eyes and talk to her. He grunts. "I really did it this time, huh?" He's never lost a fight to a trunk before. Sharon tells him the security guard is still out cold and Billy's gone for help. They have to trust him to find someone who knows how to deal with something serious like this. She hopes they get there soon. Nick grunts in pain. Sharon decides she'll distract him and keep his attention off of the pain. She tells them the kids need him to come home. He'll have to listen and stay alert as she regales him with memories of his kids and thoughts of the future. Nick knows she's trying to give him reasons to get through this. Sharon intones, "There is no way we're going to lose you." In the train car, Billy finds Sally and tells her Nick is hurt. She gasps as he tells him Nick is bleeding a lot. He knows she knows tricks from the carnies. Sally grabs her stuff and they take off. Back in the chateau, Sharon tells Nick that Faith will meet someone he approves of and they'll get married on the ranch. He'll walk her down the aisle. Just then, Billy arrives with Sally. Billy asks them to give the redhead a chance. Sally takes Sharon's place and tries to check the wound. Sally needs something to sterilize it. Sharon grabs the champagne. "Will this work?" Billy finds another bottle of alcohol that will work better, and he also gets her a dry rag. Sally warns Nick this will hurt and presses the alcohol-soaked rag on his wound. Nick cries out, and Sally keeps it up. Billy checks on the guard, who's still out cold. Sally asks Sharon to press on the wound as she wets a tea bag to squeeze on the wound. The tannins will help slow the seepage. Nick grimaces in pain, and Sally apologizes. She warns the next part will hurt, but will help heal the wound. She brandishes a shaker of salt. Nick cries out in agony. Sally says they're done as Nick nearly passes out. They tie a rope around Nick to secure the dressing on the wound. Nick feels woozy. Once Nick's recovered a bit, they discuss Sally learning her first aid techniques in the circus. Nick will make sure Kane pays for this. Sharon warns he needs to get well first. They'll deal with Kane once he's been vindicated. In the bar area of the maze, Carter tells Amanda that Kane is speaking to Chance and Victor on the train. She asks why. He complains that the men kept questioning him, confusing him. They wouldn't stop until Ashby showed up. They were upset that he calls him Mr. Dumas. They wanted to know his history with Mr. Ashby and asked about the night of the murder. They were angry. Amanda wonders if they're trying to gather evidence against Kane. Carter assures her he'd never say anything to make their boss look bad. Amanda asks Carter if he's covering for Kane. Carter insists his boss is not capable of murder. Lily appears and Amanda asks her to join them. She sniffs. I guess it could be worse. Kane could be here. Carter's sorry she thinks he's responsible for Damien's murder. He loves her, but he's not capable of killing for that love. You should give him another chance, he implores. Just then, Kane appears. Kane greets Lily, who says, You disgust me, and walks away. Kane deadpans. That went well. Amanda asks her boss what Chance and Victor wanted to know. He needs to speak to Carter alone and promises to fill her in. Amanda fumes, Fine, and trots off. Kane tells Carter he's worried about him. Talk to me. What are you not telling me about what happened that night? He knows he hid the knife in Nick's bathroom. Carter says, You believe them? Kane needs the truth. Did he think he was protecting him because he thought he killed Damien? Carter knows his boss isn't a cold-blooded killer. Kane points out that his version of events don't add up. Carter says the groundskeeper is mistaken. Kane knows he planted the knife in Nick's bathroom. How could Nick have gotten access to his bourbon to drug it, or access to his security footage to delete the moment Damien was killed? This was a carefully laid out plan. By someone with intimate knowledge of the property, he had the access. You felt that Damien was the one obstacle to my finding happiness with Lily. You wanted to right a wrong. Is that what happened? Carter, I need you to tell me the truth. Did you kill Damien for me? In Nikki's train car, Lauren doesn't want her to rush into signing over Chancellor without talking to Michael or Victor. They need to look into the options. Nikki thinks the only option Kane will accept is Chancellor. Her son is locked up, and they don't know if he's safe. Lauren warns she's jumping to the worst-case scenario. She's advising caution before she gives Kane what he wants. There could be another way to end this. Nikki wants her son safe and cleared of all charges. She has the power to do that. Lauren asks how Victor will feel if she signs over the company. Nikki believes that Victor would do the same thing. It's her decision. Just as Victor makes his own decisions, Lauren warns there would be no coming back from this. If Nikki has to sacrifice Chancellor to keep her son safe, she will do that in a heartbeat. In the maze, Amanda runs into Lauren and Nikki, who wants to see Kane immediately. Amanda says he's indisposed. Nikki rants about Nick being innocent and Kane using her son's future as a bargaining chip. Lauren tries to convince Nikki to wait and talk to Michael. Nikki refuses. She tells Amanda that she knows Kane is holding Nick as leverage to get his hands on Chancellor. If that's what he wants, she's ready to trade her company for her son's freedom. Nikki tells Amanda there will be no deal unless she has her absolute assurance that Nick will not be charged with Damien's murder. Amanda has the power to make that happen. Lauren warns she's playing into Kane's hands. Amanda just happens to have all the paperwork with her. Lauren says they've planned this and pleads with Nikki to think about what she's doing. Still in the chateau, Nick thanks Sharon, Billy, and especially Sally for keeping him alive. "Thanks, Sally," she says. "Of course." They gingerly get him up off the chair and lead him out the door, looking warily back at the guard lying on the floor. In the center of the maze, Carter tells Kane he took a chance on him. He owed him. Kane will always protect him. You know that, right? Carter says there's no one he trusts more. Kane asks him to trust him with the truth and tell him everything that happened the night that Damien was killed. Can you do that? Behind the hedges, Victor and Chance listen in. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Y&R spoiler alert. Here are your teasers for The Young and the Restless for the week of Monday, July 28th to Friday, August 1st, 2025. Be sure to tune in to CBS every weekday to see how everything plays out in Genoa City. Victor and Nikki make surprising decisions to protect their family. Chance maintains law and order at the chateau. Nick and Sharon discuss their complicated past. Phyllis and Billy defend Kane. Kyle and Audra's power struggle takes a dangerous turn. Lily informs Nate about Damien's passing. Victor teaches Kane a hard lesson. Victoria and Adam call a truce. Nate shares bad news with Amy. Victor unites his family. Jack and Diane worry about Kyle. Things get complicated for Nick and Sharon. Jack makes a sacrifice for Billy Daniel, is skeptical of Phyllis's latest plan. Tessa receives help from a new friend, July 29th. Kate Fairbanks, August 2nd. Zuleika Silver. Welcome to The Young and the Restless Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. On The Young and the Restless, Kane was shocked, I say, to find Victor and Chance interrogating his employee. But the scene quickly turned into a series of revelations. First, Carter wants out, but Victor tells him he's not going anywhere. In an astounding moment of irony, Carter tells the men they cannot hold him against his will, and Chance agrees. They can't hear them, but Nick and Sharon would like a word. Kane overrules Chance and Victor, and tells them that it's his party and he's in charge, so he dismisses Carter. I'm not sure what surprised Victor more, Kane being undaunted by Victor's presence, or the announcement that Chance was on Kane's payroll. Okay, let's pause here. Kane hired Chance to figure out who murdered Damien, but he knew someone was going to try to kill him and told Chance, so why didn't he hire him to protect him? And if he was on the search for a killer, why didn't he arm him at least? Chance didn't even bring a gun to the knife fight. He was just unarmed, without so much as a walkie-talkie, let alone a phone or any way to communicate with anyone. He's literally been playing hacky-sack with that robotic freak, as Victor kept calling him, rather than preventing a murder or showing any interest whatsoever until after it happened. Chance's badge may be useless in the French Riviera, but so are his instincts. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full Y&R recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Monday, July 28th, reveal that Amanda Sinclair will call the cops while Kane Ashby panics over the danger Lily Winters suddenly lands in. Nikki Newman also seems poised to get a last-minute rescue from a mistake. So here's what Y&R fans can expect. For starters, Carter will face the string of betrayal. After Kane makes Carter feel safe enough to confess to Damien Kane's murder, Carter will discover his boss wants him in prison. Since Victor Newman and Chance Chancellor will be listening in on Carter's admission, Carter will lose it and accuse Kane of setting a trap. It'll become obvious that there's no way out of this for Carter, so he'll decide to take drastic action. Carter will eventually whip out a gun and aim it at Lily's head. That'll send Kane into panic mode along with Chance, but Carter will insist on using Lily as a hostage to make his way off the property. Of course, Carter won't get very far. This storyline is building to an exciting climax that'll most likely end with Carter suffering a fatal gunshot wound. Lily will hopefully come out of this unscathed, but Carter may join Damien when it comes to the little corpse club that's forming in Nice. Amanda will get updates on all the chaos that's erupting and summon the police, so it won't be long until they take over the investigation. As for the Chancellor deal Amanda's been trying to make with Nikki, that may be off the table as well. Whether Victor stops Nikki or she sees wounded Nick on his way to the train, Nikki may pump the brakes on trading Chancellor for her son's freedom regardless. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nikki will flip out over the news that Nick's been seriously hurt, so stay tuned for her alarmed reaction. There's nothing Chance can do. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, July 28th, see Nick and Sharon doing a post-mortem on their endless on and off relationship, while Victor makes yet another sweeping generalization about what will be happening now so that he can protect his family. Chance was brought to France by Kane in order to solve the murder of who wanted to murder Kane. But Kane didn't get murdered, Damien did. So now Chance is up, except for the minor detail that he has no authority or jurisdiction in France. He can't put Nick under arrest, or free him either. Yet, as long as Kane put him to work, Chance might as well play detective. And he's decided he's going to lock down the area and institute law and order. Genoa City. Not so fast, Chancey boy. Sure, you're a cop, and the person the owner of the villa wants in charge, but you are not, oh, how to put this delicately? You are not Victor Newman, and Victor Newman outranks everybody on everything ever. So, you see, our hands are tied. Victor has also decided that he's going to institute law and order, his way. It will be done in the interest of protecting his family. Everyone else can fend for themselves. It's for the best, doesn't everyone agree? Nikki agrees. It's unanimous. Sharon and Nick have made it clear that they can't live with each other, and they can't live without each other. We know it. Their kids know it. Their families know. They don't seem to know it. So they go back over their history one more time. In case this time, they'll finally figure out what went wrong and how to make it right. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that fans can expect to witness a character experiencing a triple heartbreak, while another character deals with a rejection regarding moving in together. Additionally, some alluring ex-lovers will clash, so let's discuss the significant plot twists that are on the horizon. To begin with, Nate Hastings is set to endure 3 rounds of heartbreak as he faces some difficult challenges. First, the devastating news about Damien Kane's unfortunate fate. Unfortunately, Nate's heart will break again when he has to inform Amy Lewis that Damien is gone for good. Since Nate has come to see Amy as a mother figure, it will be painful to witness her suffering. Nate's heart will break once more when he eventually learns about Audra Charles, nearly getting intimate with Kyle Abbott. Audra has been concealing the details of her seduction arrangement with Victor Newman, so Nate will feel betrayed when he hears about Audra's readiness to jeopardize their relationship for Vibranti. Even though Kyle plans to move in with Claire Newman and confront Victor as soon as he returns home, things might not unfold as he hopes. To begin with, Claire is mourning Cole Howard and might hesitate to move out while Victoria Newman is also grieving. This alone could be a significant reason for Claire to postpone her move-in with Kyle more, and there could be another factor that makes Claire reconsider if Kyle reveals that Audra's attempted seduction. Claire likely won't be pleased with Kyle for the situation he created, especially if she learns it involved a passionate makeout session and him just wearing a towel. Ultimately, Kyle could face a rejection for moving in, and possibly even a breakup if he can't turn this situation around to his advantage as he had hoped. We should also discuss some past lovers who might become tempting in the upcoming months on Y&R. Once Audra parts ways with Nate, could that create a chance for Holden Novak to rekindle his romance with his ex? Holden has always been on the lookout for a moment to reignite his relationship with Audra, so it's likely they could end up back in bed together at some point, even if just for one night. Regarding Nate and Victoria, they might face some temptation in their future as well. Victoria's sorrow and Nate's breakup drama could lead to a reunion that surprises them both. Also next week on Y&R, Adam and Victoria call a truce, and Jack makes a sacrifice for Billy. The Young and the Restless spoilers for July 28th and August 1st reveal an emotional week ahead. Nate learns about Damien's death and then has to tell Amy. Jack makes a sacrifice for Billy. And finally, Adam and Victoria call a truce. Will it last? After spending so much time in the south of France, the murder mystery comes to a close next week. and more of the action actually takes place in Genoa City. But the biggest thing that happened in Nice, Damien's death, and exactly why he was murdered, will have to be dealt with. In fact, expect Lily to inform Nate about Damien's passing. When she relays the tragic news, how will Nate react? He and Damien were finally in a good place, and now this? It will undoubtedly be hard news for Nate to process. What's even harder is that after he learns about what happened to his half-brother, Nate has to share the bad news with Amy, and the brutal way Damien went out is something that will utterly devastate the woman who's already suffering from cancer. No mother should have to deal with something like this. Meanwhile, nice was not so nice for Jack and Billy. Billy decided to unload all responsibility for Abbott communication onto Sally while he concentrates on teaming up with Kane to go after Chancellor, even though the two never talked about it until this last week. And even then, Kane said he would think about it. This whole business had Jack thinking about cutting the cord with Billy and letting him succeed or fail on his own. Maybe his presence in Billy's life is detrimental to the man. So look for Jack to make a sacrifice for Billy by the end of next week. It looks like Adam and Victoria are about to solidify their latest detente. Yes, Victoria and Adam call a truce, which is great since lately they have been downright nice and empathetic towards each other. While Victor, Nikki, and Nick were in France, the two found that they were able to have civil conversations, and Adam had compassion for what Victoria was going through with Cole. Meanwhile, Victoria saw that Adam had their families back as he took care of the company while the rest of the Newmans were walking through mazes. It had to help that he climbed up and down a mountain for the family as well, right? Obviously, things between Kyle and Audra are in a horrible place. It doesn't look like that's going to end anytime soon. There may even be an escalation next week when Kyle and Audra's power struggle takes a dangerous turn. By dangerous, do they mean physically? Or is this something more along the lines of psychologically or metaphorically? And why is it that Jack and Diane need to worry about Kyle shortly after whatever this happens? Unsurprisingly, things get complicated for Nick and Sharon. The two spent a ton of time together in Nice, including being locked up together against their will. So what does complicated mean between these two? Could these two be inching closer to a reunion? Finally, Daniel is skeptical of Phyllis's latest plan, presumably because it involves Kane Ashby. Daniel probably thinks that nothing could get worse than his mom working with Billy Abbott, and now she's trying to hitch her wagon to Kane. Did Phyllis's plans change based on what happened in France? What plan is she going with? Soaps readers, all good things must come to an end, including our weekly columns. I've been dropping rants about Young and Restless every Friday for nearly 2 decades, and rest assured, even though the soapbox format is finito after today, I'll continue to rant, rave, and give Young and Restless fans a voice in daily news stories. On that note, let's dive in one last time. Who's gonna die? It's possible Chance may be the next to die. He's been all over Carter, who is almost certainly behind Damien's murder and the framing of Nick. More importantly, Connor Floyd has left Young and Restless and is already taping at Days of Our Lives. So there's a decent chance that the last core chancellor will exit the canvas in a very final way as the killer becomes desperate. Indeed, in the preview, we see Carter brandishing a gun and Chance on the scene. We also hear Amanda refer to the bodies after whatever goes down. Of course, it's possible only Carter will die and Chance will simply decide he's had enough of the drama in Genoa City. If that's the case, the bodies would be Carter and Damien. Part of me was holding out hope that Damien wasn't actually dead. I mean, it's kinda awful that they would give Nate a brother, expand the Winters family, and then swerve their entire storyline to center around Victor and Kane before killing the guy off. I find it bizarre that Adam would make his way up the mountain to Kane's estate, discover that everyone there is stranded without cell service or a way out, scale back down the mountain, return to Genoa City, and not send help. Would he really just leave them all there indefinitely? Of course, we had to suspend disbelief so that the murder mystery could play out, but it might have been more realistic not to have Adam come at all. Meanwhile, we haven't even seen much of Genoa City. Has Adam been letting people's loved ones know what's going on over in France? If so, it's hard to believe no one would have been concerned enough to send up a flare with the authorities in Nice. only on a soap. And finally, we still don't know why Kane thought someone was out to kill him. End rant. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, July 25th reveal some major moments as fans head into the weekend. Someone takes control of a situation, while another suffers from a medical emergency, and a character is backed into a corner. What's set to unravel during Friday's show? Time to find out. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, July 25th suggest that Victor Newman will take control of a situation, and if this has anything to do with Kane Ashby refusing to allow his Genoa City guests to leave his summer home, it's about time someone takes matters into their own hands. Victor will likely learn about Nick Newman's injury, so he'll have had enough of playing games and be ready to take action. But will Victor be able to make the progress needed when it comes to finally leaving Kane's French chateau? Speaking of Nick, he will be in dire need of medical attention, and Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott will jump into action to help him. Neither are doctors. However, they'll do all they can with the knowledge they have to help poor Nick. Will Kane be alerted to this situation? Does he have a doctor somewhere on staff? Will Nick be okay? Only time will tell. As Nick fights for his life, The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday note that his mom, Nikki Newman, will be backed into a corner by someone. Who will be the one to do so? As Nick and Sharon Newman escape their house arrest, will Carter corner Nikki and possibly hold her as hostage to ensure no one leaves the premises? Could Kane corner the Newman matriarch? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Recently on The Young and the Restless, Carter's loyal stance made Chance and Victor suspicious of him. Meanwhile, Nick's escape plan landed him in serious trouble. As such, Nick was seen fighting for life. Elsewhere, Audra was reluctant to climb down from her moral perch as she insisted Kyle was unworthy of Claire. The previous episodes of The Young and the Restless saw the Abbotts and the Newmans confined in Kane Ashby's estate. Other guests were Lily with Damien, Phyllis, and Chance Chancellor. Damien was inexplicably murdered when he was having a drink with Kane. Thus, the latter became the obvious suspect. However, Kane denied the charges, claiming to be the prime target, while Damien was the collateral. The finger-pointings took a turn with Phyllis claiming Kane's innocence, while Lily emphasized Kane's motive to eliminate Damien. To add to the confusion, the murder weapon was found in Nick's bathroom, driving Kane to put the Newman scion under house arrest. Meanwhile, Chance and Victor exchanged notes to realize that Carter and the groundkeeper's testimonies contradict each other. The hostage-like situation in the long-running CBS daily soap is likely to blow over in the upcoming episodes. After his violent altercation with brother, Billy decided to ask Kane's support for his business. The two men talked about Chancellor and Abbott communications. As Billy pretended to be only interested in his company, he offered good returns to Kane if the latter invested with him. Moreover, they addressed each other as brother. However, when Billy became pushy in asking for business collaborations and fundings, Kane pointed out that he was currently worried about the crime in his estate. While he wanted to concentrate on the safety of his guests, he promised to give Billy's idea serious thought. With that, the Young and the Restless fans saw Kane leave Billy alone. After their argument, Jack realized that he had been protecting Billy from landing in a soup all his life. He wondered whether indirectly he played a role in Billy's wrong business decisions. While Diane pointed out that he had done what he thought was right for his siblings, Jack realized that having him at his back made Billy reckless. With this understanding, Jack decided to cut ties with Billy. He emphasized that his move cannot be halfway. Since Billy declined his help with anything further, Jack may also cut him loose. While sad about this prospect, Jack planned to step away from funding Abbott Communications. The Young and the Restless episode for July 24th, 2025, saw Audra trying to convince Kyle that she was not planning on seducing him. While Kyle refused to believe her, she insisted that she got carried away emotionally after Damien's murder. On one hand, Kyle pointed out that she reached out for more than a shoulder to lean on. On the other hand, he told her how he informed Victor that she failed to seduce him. A livid Audra claimed that his climbing into bed with her showed that he cheated on Claire. As such, he was not worthy of Claire Newman. Meanwhile, if cornered to the wall, Audra may become more dangerous. Elsewhere on The Young and the Restless, fans saw Carter being grilled in a room by Chance and Victor. The two tried to get him to accept that he killed Damien and planted the evidence on Nick to save his employer. While claiming total loyalty to Cain Dumas, Carter denied all of the allegations the other two were charging him with. However, he let slip that he did not place the knife under the sink. Since both Chance and Victor did not mention the exact location of the weapon, they assumed that Carter knew the location since he placed it himself. Before they could corner the butler to open up, Cain arrived wanting to dig information that Carter knew. After Sharon picked the lock, Nick opened the door of their room to find the security personnel blocking the doorway. When Nick punched the guard, the latter retaliated by hitting him hard on the side of his body. Nick smashed a champagne bottle on the guard, leaving the latter unconscious. However, he asked Sharon to get help as he bled profusely. Later on, The Young and the Restless, Sharon rushed into the maze and ran into Billy. When Billy and Sharon returned, Nick was unconscious and had a faint pulse. As such, Billy declared that they needed medical attention to save Nick.